This is a staph infection, and it kills people. Actually, this is the deadliest infectious disease in the United States, accounting for more deaths every year than car accidents and HIV combined. So we're Medtric Biotech, and we save lives by solving the problem of infected wounds with our patent-pending antimicrobial wound gel. We've already completed our prototype development and our initial preclinical animal testing, and today we're looking for a total investment of $400,000 to enter the human clinical market by 2014. My name is Sean Connell. I'm the President and Chief Operating Officer, and I'm joined today by my partner, Will Scriver. He's our financial analyst. So to get started, I'd like to demonstrate the impact infected wounds have on the patient. So shown are two common examples, and although these images appear graphic, these are actually mild cases of infection. But wounds like these can lead to unacceptable patient suffering in the forms of additional hospital stay, amputations, and unfortunately even the loss of life. Now, exacerbating that problem is the increased prevalence of multi-drug resistant strains of bacteria, like MRSA, for example. Now, the World Health Organization dedicated their annual health day to combating drug resistance under the campaign slogan, "No action today, no cure tomorrow." Plus, this problem is recognized in the industry, as evident by the quotes provided from local physicians who have stated that infection is the bane of their existence and how they're embarrassed over the continued inappropriate use of antibiotics. Now, the current treatment options are limited. They can be broken down basically into two different classes. The first are those that protect against infection, and the second are those that advance the healing process. So for example, skin substitutes are common products used to accelerate wound closure, but they don't address the underlying infection. Now, to treat that infection, you first have to use additional products like antibiotics or silver-based wound dressings. But clinical evidence has suggested these products actually impair the healing process and do not reduce treatment times. So obviously, there's a substantial market opportunity and a clinical need for a new class of wound dressings that both protects and advances to offer total wound care. Osmotec offers a solution for the global market, which currently is a $14 billion opportunity. More specifically, you have the US advanced wound care market, which is a $5 billion opportunity, and within that is the antimicrobial wound care sector. This is the fastest growing market sector with the compound annual growth rate exceeding 20%, and expected revenues to reach $2 billion by 2017. Medtric is ready to enter into this market space with our complete line of advanced wound care products, Osmotec. We have a working embodiment of a foam pad, a disinfecting spray, as well as our core go-to market product, which is a traditional antimicrobial wound gel, as we show here. Now, all of our products rely on the same core technology, which is our ability to both protect and advance to offer total wound care. We protect against infection with our innovative two-step mechanism of action, fighting the infection. Basically what we're doing is poking holes in the bacteria and then sucking out their water to critically dehydrate them. Now, we achieve the first step of this process with our engineered nanobubbles that contain a hydrophobic molecule that physically fuses with the protective membrane of the bacteria. That's going to permeate the membrane, partition it, create artificial pores. Then, with a concentration of polysaccharides, we can create an osmotic pressure, pull water out of the bacteria across the pores and dehydrate it. Now, this offers several advantages over the current competition. Most notably is that unlike antibiotics that are limited to treating select strains of bacteria, Osmotec offers rapid, wide-spectrum capabilities. It's been proven effective against hundreds of strains of bacteria, including antibiotic-resistant superbugs like MRSA, for example, as shown here. Plus, this is a physical mechanism of action. It doesn't rely on a chemical pathway, which limits bacteria's ability to develop resistance to this approach. And then finally, the active component of the nanobubble is a regulated drug already approved by the FDA. And then the inactive components are recognized as safe by the FDA, posing minimal toxicity and providing a straightforward regulatory pathway. So the value proposition is clear, whereas MRSA infections alone represent a $4 billion healthcare burden. Now, in addition to protecting against infection, unlike any product in the market, it also simultaneously advances the healing process. That same osmotic pressure that dehydrates bacteria also pulls fluid from the wound bed to actively debride the wound, which removes common obstacles that are known to hinder that healing process. And again, offering several clinical advantages. As it actively debrides the wound, it balances the pH and maintains moisture to provide a conducive wound healing environment, and the end result is a faster healing wound. So to demonstrate Osmotec in action, we created a head-to-head preclinical animal trial. We put Osmotec up against the market-leading antimicrobial wound care product, silver sulfadiazine. This is recommended by both veterinarians and human clinicians for the treatment of infected wounds. And using a traumatic infected injury model with over 50 guinea pigs, the study concluded that Osmotec accelerates wound closure 25% faster than the market-leading products. Now, to put that in perspective, active biologic-based products like Regrainex or Dermagraft, which are considered elite blockbusters making over $100 million a year in revenue, accelerate wound closure anywhere from 10 to 30%. But they don't address the underlying infection like Osmotec does. So again, that value proposition is clear, whereas extended hospital stays from surgical site infections alone represent a $7.5 billion healthcare burden. Now, in addition to our preclinical animal studies, we also have a veterinary canine trial. This is hosted by the Purdue Veterinary Teaching Hospital. We've already enrolled our first patient and gotten positive feedback from the veterinarians who have stated that the wound we treated looked several days ahead of schedule, and they expressed a clear willingness to purchase the product for continued use on additional patients. Now, the only other product in the market that relies on a hyperosmotic component is MediHoney. MediHoney was purchased by Dermasciences in 2006 for $4.2 million. They cleared the FDA the following year through the 510(k) pathway, and they now have sales of around $7 million. And that's because they have several limitations that include weak intellectual property and then manufacturing restrictions, as their product is made by bees. Besides MediHoney, the market-leading non-antibiotic antimicrobial wound dressings are silver-based products. However, as I suggested earlier, clinical evidence is starting to show these products actually impair the healing process and do not reduce treatment times. So whether you're comparing us against traditional products or advanced antimicrobial wound dressings, Medtric provides a measurable difference with Osmotec. It's a unique ability to protect even against antibiotic-resistant strains of superbugs, and unlike any product in the market, it advances the healing process to 25% faster than the market-leading products. Our technology is patent pending. We have a PCT application that has over 40 claims that covers the mechanism of action, the nanobubbles, and the general classes of agents used to achieve this process. So Medtric has already conducted 3 separate, non-biased, comprehensive prior art searches, all of which have returned positive patentability opinions and no conflicting prior art. So moving forward, we're going to nationalize in major market areas and then sublicense our technology to international regions in exchange for upfront capital investments. I'd like to note that myself and my co-founding partner, Ming Li, are the sole inventors of the technology, and we are the only authors listed on the patent. And then finally, Medtric has executed a highly competitive license agreement with Purdue Research Foundation, and Medtric now holds the exclusive worldwide commercialization rights to Osmotec. So moving forward, we'll seek approval through the FDA 510(k) pathway as a regulated drug-device combination product. And to ensure approval, our sole indication for use will be to provide a conducive wound healing environment. That, along with the fact that it's a physical mechanism of action, eliminates the need for clinical trials and complex regulation. And we did this for 3 primary reasons. First off, this is an industry standard. Secondly, you can come back to the FDA for additional claims later. And then finally, this represents a key valuation inflection point for our company, making us much more attractive to potential partners. So this was developed in combination with a consultant from Baker & Daniels, who has over 20 years experience working as a classification officer for the FDA. We're currently compiling our 510(k) submission package, and we're going to select our consultants and submit that in the coming months for an estimated cost of $50,000, as based on the quotes from the consultants. I'd like to emphasize again, this is not a new drug. We do not require clinical trials, and we expect FDA approval by 2013. Taking this to market, we're going to use a phased launch approach, and we're going to start in the veterinary wound care space because of reduced regulatory requirements and as it was recommended by industry leaders to further refine your product in the vet market. From there, we'll launch into the human clinical market and over-the-counter applications, specifically targeting surgical site infections and traumatic injuries. Now, to ensure penetration, we've already established a relationship with a manufacturer and a distributor who has a dedicated sales force both in the veterinary wound care space and in the human clinical market to make for a smooth transition. We've also taken substantial steps to increase the visibility of our technology and to reduce commercialization barriers. For example, we've been invited to publish our findings in nationally recognized journals, and we've been invited to present our clinical findings at the Symposium on Advanced Wound Care. This is the largest wound care conference in the nation, and Medtric will be introducing Osmotec literally to thousands of wound care professionals at the event next week in Atlanta, Georgia. So we've identified a core market opportunity. We also have several secondary opportunities. And I'll turn it over to my partner, Will, who'll go into those in more detail.
Thanks, Sean. So in addition to our target wound care market, our platform technology has the potential to address other topical infections such as acne, toenail fungal infections, and cold sores. We anticipate capitalizing on these opportunities through product co-development and sub-licensing agreements. Given our current stage of production, we can anticipate up to $1 million in upfront payments, up to $5 million in milestone payments, and single-digit royalties after that. From our core market, we're anticipating a steady stream of revenue growth and ultimately achieving $25 million in revenue by the year 2017. This is taking into account some key assumptions such as a $15 selling price over the counter, $35 selling price in the vet and clinical market, $3 cost of goods sold, and a distributor margin of 30%. That is why we believe our venture to be an attractive investment opportunity, and we're currently seeking $400,000 in seed round financing. Now, an investor with this committed capital can anticipate a 10 times return on their investment over the same period, and this is based on our conservative estimates of our company valuation. This is based on industry comparables and a very low multiple of EBITDA. Now, this capital will enable us to fund additional research, IP protection, and the FDA approval process. With the combination of the seed round financing and the vet sales throughout 2013, our company will have the capability to penetrate the clinical market by the year 2014. Now, to date, our management team has already raised $250,000 in non-dilutive sources of funding, such as state grants, seed funds, and cash infusions from business competitions. This capital has been instrumental in mitigating the risk of your potential investment while also increasing the value to our venture. Going forward, to offset any additional capital requirements, we'll continue to seek non-dilutive sources of funding such as our NIH grant, which is currently under review, the SBIR grant, and a state investment opportunity coming due this August. However, we understand that a solid return on your investment depends on the strength of our management team. That's why we're led by co-founder and co-inventor of the technology, Sean Connell. He is our president and chief operating officer. Sean Connell has several years' experience in biomedical engineering and has numerous publications and a book chapter on the issue of tissue engineering. And he currently serves as Business Development Fellow at the Alfred Mann Institute of Biomedical Development. The other co-founder and co-inventor of the technology is Dr. Ming Li. He is our Chief Scientific Officer, and he currently serves as an assistant professor at Purdue University. Dr. Li has double the amount of publications and book chapters as Sean here, making him twice as awesome. And he has previously served as Director of Operations for a venture-backed biotech startup company. And myself, I'm Will Scriver. I'm the financial analyst. I have several years' experience as a United States Marine. I have worked with an investment bank in the past, and I've advised startup companies in the past as well. And finally, our interim CEO is Shane Fimble. He has several years executive level management, and he's currently serving as Chief Operating Officer for a multi-million-dollar technology firm. Now, in addition to our management team, we've assembled an advisory board led by John Herdig, Steve Mogeson, and Ping Paulson. John and Steve are both directors at the Alfred Mann Institute, and they have a combined 50 years experience in the medical space. John has led companies from startup to IPO and has been CEO of several publicly traded companies. Steve has extensive sales and marketing experience throughout his career and has personally overseen $1 billion in sales throughout his career. And finally, Ping Paulson is founder and CEO of Safest Solutions, which is a regulatory advisory firm. And for the last 10 years, she has helped companies such as ours navigate the FDA approval process. To add even more value to our management team, we have participated in state-sponsored programs such as the ones listed, which have provided advisory services and business support. Now, given our current strategy, we have already garnered extensive industry interest in our technology, and we have executed an evaluation agreement with a world-leading orthopedic company, which has already purchased our product for in-house assessment. This has led to our first sale and initiated our revenue stream. With that, I'll now turn things over to Sean, who will wrap up our presentation.
All right, thanks, Will. So today we demonstrated the impact infected wounds have on the patient. We also talked about the limited treatment options that are currently available. And then Medtric introduced you today to Osmotec, a unique product capable of protecting against infection and advancing the healing process to offer total wound care. We identified a core market application as well as several secondary opportunities to ensure a strong return on your investment. So please, invest in Medtric and help make the measurable difference. Please feel free to contact us. You can visit us online at metricbiotech.com, email us, follow us on Facebook, and if you want, you can even mail me a letter. I'll buy some stamps and respond to you guys. So, thank you.